Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. Distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terror never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. 'Tis some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Welcome, guys. I felt like I'm Kamishina Taishi. I felt like doing a weird, like, dark, gothy thingy at the start of the video. I hope that didn't weird you out. I'm a Japanese English translator, as I'm sure everybody knows. We are here to kick off Secret Org Volume 5, Chapter 1, because that's what we're doing. We're starting that, and as some of you might have guessed from the title and from what was sort of the volume title and everything that was already uploaded onto the website, Volume 5 is a bit gothic. It's a bit weird. I mean, okay, this series, everything about this series is always weird, but this series, I mean, this volume is weird in a different way from before. You guys will see what I mean. There's no point describing it for now. Let me turn the background music back on. Background music on. Back to being cheerful. I actually, I have some art commission. I'm gonna change the thumbnail for the video. We're gonna go a bit dark for Volume 5, and you guys will see. But don't worry, there will be the usual tsukomis and everything from Sago, who cannot believe what he is seeing. In any case, I cannot wait to get started. So, 早速始めたいと思います。So here we are, Chapter 5. What did I translate the volume title as? I think it was the Dark Wings, Double Wings of Shade. I think it was. Let me just quickly check. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Nope, that's not what I wanted. This one. The Double Wings of Shade. That's what I did, huh? Okay, and yes, it has the crosses. You see, here you see it has the crosses. So that's what we're doing. Double Wings of Shade. All right, find that super S. Okay, let's count this. S R. Esper. That's what we're doing. ゴールデンウィークが明けてから冠城さんは不毛迷彩をまとい太平洋をまとう漂う魔法の城に入りすかっている。Here is the dictionary. That is the Pacific Ocean. After the end of Golden Week. Oh, and I zoomed into both of them a little bit in case it helps see it a little bit better. Fusion says it is a good poem. It is a good poem. It's a weird poem. Whatever. I thought I'd just have a little bit of fun. At the end of Golden Week, Kaburagi-san disappeared into her camouflaged magic castle over the Pacific Ocean. First few days こそ念力で送り迎えをしていたが、ここ 2,3 週間は止まりっぱなしだ。天の岩戸にも顔を出さなくなるほどどハマり中毒っぷりである。魔法の城に住むのは長年の夢だったのだから無理もない。最初の数日こそ、the first few days, she would commute from it. I said she, didn't I? She would commute from it using through my telekinesis. But for the past 2 to 3 weeks, she hadn't. She's been staying there the entire time. She's been staying inside. But for the past 2 weeks, she hasn't come out. She hasn't emerged. She hasn't shown herself. She hasn't made an appearance. She's been stuck inside for the past 2 weeks. For the past 2 to 3 weeks, she's been just stuck inside. But then she stopped appearing. But for the past 2 to 3 weeks, oof. Didn't think I'll get stuck so fast. For the past 2 to 3 weeks, she's been she hasn't made an appearance. But then she stopped showing herself. Oof. Not sure I like this one, but we'll fix it in post. 天の岩戸にも顔出さなくなるほどどハマり中毒ぶりである。In other words, she was so besotted and どハマり means to be really well, there you go. Taken in, or to be addicted. But she's so crazy about it. Crazy. I feel like besotted is fine. And chudoku means to be sort of, you know, it's drugs. It's addicted, basically. Besotted and addicted to it? I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, and addicted doesn't really work here, so besotted. And addicted doesn't really work here, so I'm just gonna stick with this, even though there are 2 words in Japanese, dohamari and chudoku, but we're just gonna leave that. So besotted with it. That was How? So I thought there was a second part to the sentence, so that's why I phrased the first one like that. But no, this is all there is to the sentence. So that was how crazy about it she was. She was with it. Something like that. 魔法の城に住むのは長年の夢だったのだから無理もない。It had been her life's dream to live inside a magical castle, so I wasn't. So you couldn't blame her. So I couldn't blame her. So this is one of those cases where you shouldn't go literal. So I couldn't blame her. See, that doesn't work. That doesn't. There's no explaining. it just doesn't flow well in English. So understandable. Understandable, considering how it had been her live stream to live in a magical. Let me try something else. Considering how badly and how long it was then. Considering how long she had been dreaming of living inside a magical castle. Okay, what's the difference between these two sentences? So we can let's take a look, right? So here it's same, right? Considering how it had been her life's dream to live in a magical castle. So this one feels unfinished somehow. I don't know how to explain it. I might be off my game because I haven't done this for a week or two. How long she had been dreaming of living inside a magical castle. Now this feels completed. I really don't know how to explain it. But this one feels unfinished. That's the way it is. So that's why we're going with this. Sense. I mean, in Japanese they would call it sense, I suppose. I guess that works also in English, right? You need to get a sense for it, which does not bode well for people who try to be translators, which is the people that I'm trying to help with this stream. But there's really no other way to explain it. I do this by feel. そこまで入り浸かる理由の一つとして、魔法城と東京の交通の便が悪いことが挙げられる。One big reason why for this state of affairs was the quality of travel between the Magic Castle and Tokyo. 念力輸送の速度は体への負荷を考え、マッハ5程度に抑えており、片道 1,2 時間かかる上、人目につかないよう移動は夜間に限られる。徒歩数分で気楽に移動できれば、冠城さんもここまで入り浸っていないだろう。In order to minimize, to keep effects, 負荷 burden, load on the body, in order to keep load on her body at a minimum, I had to keep the speed under Mach 5, which meant slightly under 2 hours single trip. Ooh, okay, this is not working well. Grammar, just simple grammar, which meant that a single trip, a single way trip took slightly under 2 hours. Single way trip, right? That's what it's called, right? It's opposite of round way trip would be a single way trip, right? Opposite of round way trip. Sometimes I just look up the dumbest thing. What's the opposite of round trip? You call it round trip, not round way trip. One way. That one-way trip. Oh, okay. One-way trip. Okay, there we go. Okay, this is one of the situations where my sort of intuition, I guess, paid off. It felt weird. This is a translation stream. I'm here for the storytime ASMR. Thanks for playing along. You know, I might. That sounds funny. I might upload a reading of the poem just for the shits and giggles, and then put like a dark BGM to it, maybe. 片道 1,2 時間かかる上、人目につかないよう。In addition. Okay, this is a good example of how the Japanese would continue the sentence, but we are gonna break it up because it's easy to break up. If it's easy to break up, bro. You always would want to break it up. In addition, we had to the commute had to happen. The commute had to happen during the nighttime in order to avoid notice. 徒歩数分で気楽に移動できれば、冠城さんもここまで入り浸かっていないだろう。If it had been merely a few minutes walk away, Kaburagi-san surely wouldn't have Iribitaru. I was reading it all wrong. Wouldn't have been so immersed in it. Wouldn't have immerse. I feel like we need a different word for that. Wouldn't have gotten so. Here we go. Something like this. Wouldn't have buried her. Wouldn't have buried herself so deep in it. Wouldn't have been so preoccupied. Nope. Wouldn't have lost herself so. Baptize is not we want. Wouldn't have been so immersed in it. I don't know, man. So I'm going with engrossed for now, but I'm definitely gonna have to look at that later. Because the whole point here is more, it's not so much that she's engrossed with it, it's that, you know, it's the sort of the specific type of being engrossed where like she's not coming out. And I feel like this word doesn't convey that properly. You know, that's how it always is. We're always on the look for the right word. Sometimes we don't get it. Sometimes it's just we just compromise and just go, you know, しょうがない。もともと移動手段や空間の制限は秘密結社活動をする上でネックになっていた。The limitations of travel and 移動手段。移動手段 is methods of travel and distance. Limitations of traveling methods and distance was always going to be a bottleneck for the development of our secret organization. 世界の闇が出現すると、トーカちゃんや翔太くんはだいたい走って現場に向かう。自転車があれば自転車を使い、タクシーを呼ぶこともあるが、無駄に時間がかかる。街中で全力疾走が人目引くのも問題だ。Whenever and you were supposed to do, you're supposed to fix it. Come on, autocorrect. When you're supposed to do your work, you don't do your work. And then when you're not supposed to do your work, when you make it look weird, random things. Whenever word shadows appeared, Toka-chan and Shota-kun, most of the time, when word shadows appeared, Toka-chan and Shota-kun would run over on foot. If there was a bike on hand, they would ride the bike. They've taken the taxi before also. They've also taken the taxi before. Either way, it takes time. It costs unnecessary time. It unnecessarily costs time. Yeah, no, this is better. It costs unnecessary time. And running full speed in broad daylight was conspicuous. Machinaka de. So here we flipped it a little bit. I'm not saying that it's the right thing to do. Let's examine it. Hold on, I probably need some water. Okay, so machinaka means in the middle of the city. Running full speed in the middle of the city was bound to draw attention. Yep, okay, this is the more direct, precise translation. And it works, so let's do that. I don't know, man. Sometimes my brain just sort of overinterprets it a little bit too much, and then so I have to go back and take a better look at the source text and go like, no, we can do it directly and it will still look fine. I don't know. Weird brain. Alright, さらに戦闘服を着た状態で現場に行けばめちゃくちゃに目立つから、私服で現場に向かい、私服のままで戦うケースが最近多い。Furthermore, it was extremely conspicuous to change into battle gear and run to the gemba to change, run to the scene in battle gear. So lately they've taken to just fighting they've taken to just fighting without getting changed. There we go. もたもた着替えているうちに世界の闇が逃げたり、一般人を襲ったりしたら大問題だからだ。After all, if they wasted time getting changed, the world shadow might get away or assault innocent people, which makes sense. Which does make sense. I mean, that is, you know, if only they had like a thing from magical whatever anime, right? And you just press a thing or get a stick and just Sailor Moon themselves or something, right? 戦闘服に着替えなくても戦闘に習熟している翔太くんとトーガちゃんは雑魚敵との戦いで今更怪我などしない。Being as used to fighting as they were now, Shota Kun and Toka-chan wouldn't get hurt fighting against trash mobs. No longer. Let's keep that. But that is one change that you could always consider. Put that in your pockets, sort of like a tool. Or, you know, because the voice sounds different, right? Wouldn't get hurt. That would no longer get hurt. The voice is different, so that is one difference. That this, you know, it's always just, we're just playing with words here, right? That's just what we're doing, right? It's just we take words, we flip it, spin it, find different versions of it. That's what we're doing here. 事実、戦闘服はマリランド島で久しぶりに使用された。To be exact. In fact, the two students hadn't taken out their battle suits even once after returning from Maryland. マリランドの時の飛行機乗り継ぎも面倒だった。旅の楽しみも含めてイベントなのだから、 悪いわけではないのだが、どうしても時間がかかり、色だけで旅疲れが出てしまう。ゴールデンウィークや春、夏、冬の長期休みでもなければ、遠出は難しい。土日にちょっとアメリカでイベントやろうというわけにはいかないのだ。Speaking of the Maryland events, the plane trip had been a bother too. It was fine that time because it's part of the fun of going places. But there was no denying that it took quite a while. It took quite a while. And long plane flights were tiring. We're just tiring. Period. And we would be difficult to go anywhere far away. Aside from the long vacations during spring, summer, and winter. Aside from the long spring, summer, and winter vacations. Just casually going let's do a quickie in America over the weekend was entirely out of the question. Okay, let's look at what we have done. What have we done with this? マリランドの時の飛行機乗り So we have added this, speaking of, because we needed a connector between the paragraphs and, technically, if you're to be exact, it'll be a sort of like furthermore, because there's more, but, we've used it, so here's a good replacement. It's a limited replacement, as in places where you can use it is sort of limited, but it is what it is. 旅の楽しみも含めてイベントなのだから割るわけではない。It was fine that time because that's part of the fun of going places, but there was no denying. どうしても時間がかかる。So, in any case, either way, regardless, it takes time. 時間がかかる。It costs time. So we made it as there's no denying. It took time. Rather than it took time, it took quite a while because that's what we want to emphasize here, right? That it takes a while. 時間がかかる。色だけで旅疲れが出てしまう。And long plane flights were just tiring. 色だけで just traveling alone だけで so just traveling and so this is just and alone traveling and then this is being tired from traveling and then this is you get it so you get tired just by traveling so this yeah I think I'm satisfied with that. We can do that. Looks good. そして空間の問題は色の問題よりも深刻だ。空間の問題。空間の問題。What? Space. Ah. So it's not distance. Space. Space was also a definite problem. 人気のない場所で超能力者が世界の闇と呼ばれる怪物と戦っているらしいという情報はオカルト界界ではそれなりに広まっていて、業界人の抗議者を大いに煽っている。やっべえなこれ。Fact that there were experts fighting against monsters called world shadows was actually spread quite far within the occult world. In abandoned places. 人気のない場所。人気のない場所。Unpopular places. Abandoned? I'm not sure about abandoned because that means must have been abandoned, but what am I saying? I want more just like a place without deserted. There we go. Quiet and deserted. Quiet and deserted places have actually spread quite far within the occult world. 下水道、廃工場、夜の取り壊し中のビルなどでは、張り込みや監視カメラの設置が盛んだ。It was now a fad to stake out underground sewers, sewer tunnels, abandoned factories, and buildings scheduled for demolition. Spelling. Where that wasn't possible. Is now the latest thing to set up security cameras and stake out. Boom. 素人の調査だけならまだしも、各国の情報機関にまで目をつけられているからやりにくいことこの上ない。Was still manageable if it had been mere amateurs. It had been only the amateurs doing this. But of course, the intelligence agencies also caught wind of it. Also caught wind. Do we need of it? Yeah, we might need of it. Think about it later. すでに東京近郊の目星場所は監視の被害厳しすぎて使えず、世界の闇との戦いを使う場所の確保には苦労している。We were actually fast running out of places within the city suburbs. We're actually fast running out of places. Surveillance on all the nooks and crannies of the suburbs was growing tighter by the day, and it was getting increasingly difficult to secure locations for the world shadow fights. しかも念力で強引に監視を排除すれば監視が排除されたということに気づいたやつがあっという間に飛んでくる。あと1年もしないうちに東京に安心して戦える場所はなくなってしまうだろう。念力でのカバーにも限度というものがある。What's more, if I used telekinesis to forcibly disable the surveillance once the people who set it up would immediately dogpile the place based on the fact because their surveillance was disabled. The disabling of their surveillance. しかも念力で強引に監視をSo what's more? So しかも What's more? If I use 強引に監視を排除すれば排除されたということに気づいたやつ。If I use telekinesis to forcibly disable the surveillance, the people who set it up would immediately dogpile the place. They would rush over to the place, I suppose. Immediately rush over. Yeah, I feel like dogpile works here. あと1年もしないうちに東京で安心して戦える場所がなくなってしまう。Less than a year later, and we would be completely out of places to fight in. There was a limit. This was limit to what I could achieve using telekinesis. So this is a pretty big problem, isn't it? So if we set this up like this, right? So this is the problem that they have. They're out of space, traveling's a bitch. What do you think they need? Well, and sort of, you know, like, this is the way this author does things, right? Kurodome Sensei basically sets out a problem and he introduces a power that can solve that problem. What do you think is the power that he's gonna introduce? Vote now on your phones. I will wait just a little bit, and then the next time we'll talk about it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's right. If you guessed space, time travel, teleportation dude, that's who he needs. そこで移動と空間の問題を解決できる新しい超能力者、時間系能力者を加入することにした。Solves this as a solution to all these problems, I decided to solicit a new esper, one who was capable of using a power related to space. 空間系 So basically a teleportation dude. Space. 今回は逸材を探して超能力をプレゼントするのではなく、空間系能力の素質を持つ人間を探し、空時伏せる形になる。人柄より能力優先だ。This time, we weren't finding someone based on their personality and then granting them a superpower. Instead, we were going to find someone who possessed the affinity for a space-related superpower and then convince them to join. 口説き伏せる。口説く means to convince, but then 伏せる ooh, argue down. Here we go. To confuse. What is confuse? Ooh, prove someone wrong. That's definitely not what we need here, but that is a nice word to learn. So we need something stronger than persuade. So it's sort of like you persuade them to the very end, all the way. You cannot accept no for an answer. Coax? No, that's not strong enough. We need compel. Well, coerce is a bit overmuch. Compel, I'm thinking. Yeah, I like that. Compel them to join us. The superpower took priority over the personality. We were prioritizing the superpower over the personality. もちろん、秘密結社活動は嫌いだったり、秘密を守れそうもないやつを演じなのだが。That said, naturally, we obviously weren't going. That was if. So hates secret organizations, right? Cannot keep secrets. NG. No go. Now we have to put this into a sentence. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with this? Over the president. We're prioritizing superpower over. We're prioritizing. Nah, I'm right here. I'm right here. What's wrong with you? Of course, we wouldn't. We could only hope. Naturally, that was assuming that the person did not hate being involved with a secret organization or couldn't keep a secret. naturally, we're prioritizing the superpower over the personality. Natural, that was assuming that the person did not hate being involved with a secret organization or couldn't keep a secret. Let's turn this around. Let's turn this around so that it sounds a bit better. Naturally, that was assuming that the person was fine with being involved with a secret organization and could keep secrets. See, that's better. That's better. Let's bring it back so that you can see. This happens often where we flip it. You know, if it's negative, make it positive. If it's positive, make it negative. So that the flows better. This is a tool. This is a tool. One of these days, I'll make a video or something to sort of go over tools that you have as a translator. One of these days, when I find the freaking time for it. But this is a very common tool where you flip positive, negative, or negative, positive. That's the thing. Kukan系能力者が仲間になれば、遠い場所に一瞬で移動できたり、異空間にしまっておいた戦闘服に一瞬で着替えたり、誰にも見つからない隔離空間で人知れず世界の闇と戦うなんてこともできるだろう。むしろ今までそういうのがなかったのがおかしかったと言える。If we had a space-related Esper on our side, we could travel great distances in the blink of an eye, fetch our battle suits from Ikukan, from another dimension, from an extra dimension, from extra dimension. Is that a word? From extra dimension? Yeah, from extra dimensional space. Extra dimensional suit control. What? Alright. Okay, control, huh? I might play that game someday. Ooh. Extra dimensional space. To get changed in an instant. And fight world shadows in Kakuri Kuka. Kakuri, I'm so Kakuri, when I hear Kakuri, it's just quarantine. That's the only word that's coming to mind. Quarantine. That's what the year does to you. When I hear Kakuri, I think quarantine. Fuck me. In isolated space. Hitoshirezu, without people knowing. Without people knowing. So this makes you think of Shakugan no Shana. I don't know if you guys have seen that anime. It's from it's from way long ago. But that's sort of what it's describing, right? Shakugan no Shana. Kekkai? Fuzetsu. That's the isolated space. Yeah, I think we're just gonna go with the word isolated space. Beyond beyond the ken of common mere mortals. In isolated spaces, that normal people could not sense. That normal people fight world shadows in isolated spaces. And set up isolated spaces to fight. Yeah. And set up isolated spaces to fight world shadows in. There we go. It also sounds like the espers in Haruhi. Who's an esper in Haruhi? I remember they basically had everybody because of Haruhi's sentence at the first day of school. So they had the espers, had aliens, they had time travelers, everything. Who was the esper? It was Kuon? Koizumi ka. Koizumi. Right. Him. Main character. He was an esper. I see. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Celestial. Yeah, that's basically the same idea. Basically the same idea. Which is, it's a fun idea, isn't it? The ideas were endless. In fact, it was weirder how we didn't have any of those things up to now. Koizumi. Yeah. That's it looks like it. Oof. Talking about Haruhi, man. I watched the Endless 8. This is small brag. I actually watched the Endless 8. But that was when I was in high school and I had all the time in the world. And I was just halfway through, I was just you know, I'm just like, I started this, I wanna fucking finish this. It is so pointless. So fucking pointless. But no. Alright, that's where we're gonna end it today. So this is the setup. This is chapter 1. Chapter 1 is always the setup, and clearly we've the setup has been done. We have a clear problem. Sago has a clear idea how he's gonna resolve that problem, what solution he's got, and now he's just gonna torture himself finding one such esper, because as the title tells you, that is a very, 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 very rare esper. So we're gonna see how that turns out. As always, the chapter will be going up on the site next Saturday. So thanks for watching. I'm not sure. I was a bit off my game today, I feel like, but anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys again next week, I suppose. I wish you a wonderful day. Have a nice day. Cheers. Haruhi, 18 years old. We're old, man.